The Objective News Network, complaints against judges are fixed by other judges, a revolving door of judicial fraud and corruption. Hello, everyone. This is Hnatio. We have found more blockbuster information on the corruption of the judicial disciplinary process, showing how a complaint against this man, Federal District Court of Claims Judge Thomas C. Wheeler, was handled by his colleagues on the federal bench. The Institute for Complexity Management, a nonprofit think tank, has just completed the most comprehensive research study ever done on the dysfunction of America's judicial system. They have created what's called the National Investigative Library of Evidence, or NILE for short. ONN has been granted exclusive access to the NILE database. In addition to my job here at ONN, I am also the executive director of ICM and the person who served as the principal investigator on the case of Demodulation Incorporated. After Demodulation Incorporated's legal cases involving the theft of their intellectual property by the government were quashed by the courts, ICM sent a complaint against Judge Wheeler, alleging that he either intentionally or perhaps because of diminished mental capacity, allowed the small company's attorneys at the Callagy law firm and this man, Department of Justice lead lawyer Gary L. Houskin, to engage in misconduct. Here's a copy of the complaint filed by ICM against Judge Wheeler. The ICM complaint eventually snaked its way through a very long line of federal judges who summarily dismissed it as merits-related. ICM appealed the complaint all the way up to the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, where it was reviewed by a special Judicial Council of Judges who simply dismissed the complaint once again, also falsely attesting that it was merits-related when clearly it was not. Now, what does the term merits-related mean? In legal term, merits-related refers to complaints against judges that take issue with the specific laws or judgments on how to interpret the laws made during a judicial proceeding by a judge. But when you read the complaint submitted by ICM, it immediately becomes obvious that the complaint against Wheeler contains absolutely no references to specific laws or their interpretations by Judge Wheeler in the case of Demodulation Incorporated. In fact, the complaint repeats over and over again that it is not merits-related, and based solely on the fact that Judge Wheeler failed to oversee the integrity and honesty of the lawyers, both for the government and for the plaintiff, that he allowed to practice law in his own courtroom, resulting in a politically weaponized and terrible miscarriage of justice. Of course, the case that Wheeler was presiding over was the matter of Demodulation Incorporated, owned by Mr. James O'Keefe, Jr., the father of conservative activist and Democrat arch-enemy James O'Keefe III, the founder of Project Veritas. We also found this: a rebuttal by the ICM principal investigator on the Demodulation Incorporated case to 43 charges lodged against him by this man, Gary L. Houskin, the Department of Justice lawyer defending the U.S. government in the matter of Demodulation Incorporated. The same corrupt Lawyers for Demodulation Incorporated never allowed this document to become part of the court record, leaving the ICM principal investigator with his professional reputation completely destroyed by Judge Wheeler and Mr. Houskin. Judge Wheeler, without considering the merits of the egregious and fraudulent charges being made by the U.S. government, affirmed by his own actions that they were indeed true when he ruled that the ICM principal investigator would be barred from the court as a witness for the Demodulation Incorporated plaintiff, Mr. James O'Keefe, Jr., on trumped-up charges of endangering court-protected information. Just take a look at these charges, all of which were completely fabricated by Justice Department lawyers for the purpose of keeping the ICM principal investigator from testifying as an expert witness before the Wheeler Court and an eyewitness to many of the crimes reported. Judge Wheeler, in one fell swoop, acted to destroy the credibility, reputation, honesty, and integrity of the ICM principal investigator, who perhaps more than anyone else involved in the matter understood the fraud against the machinery of the court that he many times personally witnessed taking place. Also, a truly startling example of fraud by Mr. Houskin and the entire Department of Justice legal team upon the machinery of the court to suppress the truth, obstruct justice, and engage in a whole-scale corruption of the American judicial system. These and other documents demonstrating the corruption of the courts can be found at the ICM website at this link. It is what it is for June 16, 2023. This is John Hnatio reporting for the Objective News Network. Thank you very much for watching, and we appreciate your comments. We will be back with much more on this developing story of the whole-scale corruption of America's judicial system by politically weaponized Democrat judges, lawyers, prosecutors, and yes, the politically weaponized FBI. See you next time.